How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to talk to you about Zazu app. It's an app I've been working on for a long time, about a year and a half now. It's basically a programmable butler. Technical difficulties. Should I grab this or? Okay, talking to it. Can everybody hear me? In the back, everybody got it? I'll try to talk more. Thanks. So to tell you what it is, it's usually easier to tell you about some similar tools that are like Zazu. If you're on a Mac, Spotlight. If you're on a Windows, usually the start menu is kind of like that. If you're into some of the more paid options, Alfred is one of them. But each one has their own advantages and disadvantages depending on what you're needing. So to go into it, Spotlight, I use a Mac, so I'm going to go to Spotlight first because it's what I've been using for a long time. One of the basic things it can do is launch apps, which almost all of these things can. It's kind of a boring feature, to be honest. You launch apps once and you're kind of done. The thing about Spotlight, though, is it's not extendable. If you want to be able to make your own plugin for it, make it do your own functionality, you don't really have too many options with that. It's also obviously OS specific. It only works on Mac. You can't download it on your Linux or your Windows machines. And then obviously the Windows Startbar is similar to that in the same aspects, is that it's only on Windows. You can't really do much with it. It's not extendable. It really just finds apps. That's all it really does. Alfred, it's available on Mac, only on Mac. You have to pay for it, but it is extendable. So you can kind of make plugins do different things, but plugins really aren't viewed as first-class citizens. So often you'll get into a point where you're like, well, I like Alfred, but I really don't like its calculator. I really wish I could do some more interesting things with the calculator, and you really can't. You're basically using their calculator, and that's really about it. It's also not open source, so like if it itself, some of the behavior of Alfred wasn't something you liked, you can't really do much to change that or extend it. It's kind of just in its own little box, its own little world. You pay $40 for it, and you get to use it as is, which I don't really like much. So there's a lot of text here. I'll go over it. But Zazu, which I'm always really excited about, so if I'm talking too fast, just tell me to slow down. It's obviously free. So it's MIT license. It's on GitHub. It's written in Electron, which I'm sure some of you guys know what Electron is. So it runs in OS X, Windows, Ubuntu. It actually runs in a lot more than that, but I only compile for those three because those are the three that I use the most frequently. I guess I mean maybe, but it's also kind of interesting in a few different ways. You can extend it with JavaScript and Node. All your plugins are in Electron, run in Electron. So if you've ever used Electron before, I imagine like a JavaScript file that does like DOM manipulation plus like actual Node. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So file system things and regular JavaScript stuff. So it's really fun to play with things like that. So all the plugins are made like that. And your configuration for this is also manageable in a .dot file. If you're ever familiar with like Vim or something along those, a lot of Vim people with their text editors will like put their configuration in a file, back it up to GitHub, so they can just move it around, do whatever they want. Setting up a new computer is really easy. I use Vim, so I also took the similar approach with Zazu. There's basically a Zazu RC file in your home directory. It's a JSON file, of course, because it's JavaScript. And that can be synced with GitHub, things like that. So a lot of cool features. It's obviously free. Download it, do all the cool things. So to kind of show you, like, well, you kind of told me what it is, but like let's actually see what's going on. So I'll just show you what a calculator is. This is actually Zazu, not part of the presentation. I'm actually launching it, so I can type in something like 13 feet to inches. This is one of the default plugins that comes with it. It says 156 inches. What's cool about this, unlike a lot of the other ones, is like if you hit enter, a lot of them will open up the calculator, which is I don't think it's super useful. What I really want is like 156 inches or something like that into my clipboard, which I think is a lot more useful, especially if you're doing like CSS or something. Like a lot of the calculations you might just do on the fly, and you're like, I just want to paste it, which I think makes sense. Of course, if you don't like how that behavior works, make your own calculator plugin. You can just remove this one. Another one is a system. Oftentimes, you want to be able to lock your computer. I'm not going to actually do it, but you could lock your computer. There's like things for opening up the screensaver or emptying your trash can, a lot of like basic system-y things. Clipboard management, that's always a fun one. So these are just some of the basic ones that comes with it. You can obviously remove them. We'll get into some funner ones in a little bit. You can see that I can just like scroll through my history a little bit. I can type in, do stuff. So I can look for images or something. Like obviously here's the cute little dog. Things like that. The clipboard is obviously really useful. Just basically it tracks everything you copy, and you can search through it, find all the things for like the last 40 items. It's how many items it actually stores is extensible. So you can do all kinds of cool stuff with the clipboard. One of my favorite examples is like if you're trying to copy something from one document to another, sometimes you'll see a pattern where people will copy one thing, switch to the other document, paste it, switch back and forth over and over again. When in theory you could actually just copy 10 times, go to the other document, paste 10 times. Clipboard managers are awesome for that reason. If you're not even going to use Zazu, still download a clipboard manager. They're like your best friend. So this one actually made for this talk, donut facts. everybody likes donuts. I assume you like donuts. If you don't, I don't know why you're here. Maybe the JavaScript, but whatever. So I can just type in donut, and it just says, here's a random donut fact for you. If you can't read that, I can just hit it. Opens up in a preview box. The world is ran by a group of donuts. I can just keep typing in donut, and it'll just keep giving me all these different donut facts. I only listed one at a time. I could list however many I want. Plugins have a lot of ability to do whatever they want. So for this one, I said I just want one result to show, and when you click it, it just throws it up in a preview box. There's quite a few donut facts if you guys want to go download it. Another one? OK. I made these up just a few minutes ago. Let's go another one. Donut script compiles to Java, not JavaScript. Let's see if there's another funny one. NASA never landed on the donut. It's random, so it might repeat some of them. Portland is underground donut bar. It does. That's actually a true one. Right, exactly. He knows what I'm talking about. So one of the more useful ones that I've used, and when I was an Alfred user, I made this plugin for Alfred, is that it just searches your Chrome bookmarks and gives you a list of them. And it does it in a really inclusive way to where if you type something wrong or if you aren't even close to what you're wanting, it'll still include like almost all the results and just order them in a correct way. So for instance, I can just open it up. For this, you type in like a prefix, which is Control-B, so it just goes to that one plugin, not the other ones, because you don't always want all the plugins to respond. So some of the plugins say that I want some kind of prefix before, so they just know to talk to me. So I can type in, obviously, donut. You can see that like the second one looks nothing like the word donut, but if you actually look closely enough, you can see the letters D-O and U-T are inside of the URL in the title. So that's where I'm talking about the inclusiveness in it. Some of the letters could even be missing, and it doesn't care. Well, it does care. It's helping in the ranking, but it's a really interesting plugin to be able to find different plugins or different bookmarks in your Chrome. I use Chrome. I actually originally wanted to make this to where it was working for Firefox and Chrome and Safari, but they're all so different and all so annoying. It's like, no, I'll just do Chrome. Emoji is a fun one too. So this is one of the first third-party contributors made this plugin, which I thought was really fun. Emoji is actually a search engine, so if my internet goes down, this isn't going to work. But it's really fun in the sense that like you send it like a search term, and it finds an emoji for you, which is really cool. But it works a lot better than just like if you guys have been on GitHub and typed in like green, it only finds the one with the like starting with the GREEN, and like it doesn't give you anything else. So if you wanted to like find like a green clover, you typed in green, you're not going to find it on GitHub. So, for example, I could type in emoji and type in the word green, and you can see like the second option is actually a clover, which doesn't have the word green in it at all. You could also type by like a subject or something. So I've already typed in something like the word pig, for instance. You can see that there's some instances of various pigs that come up. It's a really, really nice plugin. I would recommend this to everybody. Eggplant, things like that. So I think this might be this last one or second to last one I'm going to demo, and there's a little bit after this, but sorry. Timer, this is one of my favorite plugins. I just made it a few days ago, and I was like, well, what's the simplest plugin I can make? And so timer's really cool, because like what'll happen a lot of times when you're pairing or something is you want to be able to switch. Some people do like ping pong pairing, where one person writes a test and one person like fixes it, then writes another tests, things like that. Sometimes you might do, like if you're doing like a mobbing session where you have like a bunch of people, sometimes it's like, what we've been doing at New Relic is you'll switch every like 5 minutes or 15 minutes. And so we have like a timer going, and it just beeps basically. And so here I can like say, do a timer for 5 minutes and call it Blaine, and then it'll basically throw a huge display box in 5 minutes and say, Blaine is up, and then you switch the keyboard. What's cool about this plugin is that the plugins are built around promises. So all the promises for everything will return, all the plugins will always return a promise. And so for this plugin, all it really does is return a promise that resolves in a set timeout of whatever that 5 is, which is, in this case, it's minutes. So this is like a 5-line plugin, but it's really useful. So it's just little things like that just makes it really easy to be able to extend this yourself. And this is where getting at is, the point is Zazu. It's obviously free. It's extensible. The plugin system is really where you want to be. You want to be able to make your own custom plugins for this. That's where the power of Zazu is that you can easily just say, okay, well, I need to make a plugin to do this one thing. Like a coworker the other day said, I really want something to be able to like unminify the JavaScript in my clipboard. And so I made a plugin. It's like, okay, all this does is pulls it from your clipboard, unminifies it, and shoves it back in your clipboard. Like, that's super simple. That's all it does. And it's like now there's like a way to get to it. You can either do like a keyboard shortcut, or you can do like a command or whatever. You can do anything you want. All the plugins are on GitHub, so like you don't have to upload it to my server. You can just put it on GitHub and it's there, and then anybody can install it. So it's really nice. There's a template you can use. Basically, it just has like a few default things in there to show you like how to get started with it. And what's cool about this is one of the default plugins. So if you were to like just install Zazu now, which like I said, there's a few binaries online for like Windows, Mac, things like that. Just download that and the template's already there. So what a lot of people do, I even do this, is I just go into the template, make my plugin, then I push it to another Git repo on GitHub. And then I just download it again, which it makes sense because it's just there. And like I said, it's promise-based. So everything returns a promise. Basically, there's like this interesting block structure where an input, you type in something which goes to input blocks, and those connect to other types of blocks, but it goes in this interesting way where inputs can go to inputs or inputs could go to outputs, and they could fork in different ways. It's really extensive on promises. I really like promises. If promises are scary to some people, just come talk to me. I can totally walk you through some stuff. And there's some really awesome documentation. I spent a lot of time on the documentation for this. And so I got to show you because it's so cool. So this is the website. You can see there's a little intro video at the bottom. Of course, there's the cute dog. Just some examples or whatever, but like I said, the docs are at the top. There's also some list of plugins and themes that I know about. I don't have to know about all your plugins and themes, but you could. I should also mention with the themes, it's really nice because, like I said, it's Electron. All the themes are CSS. And like, we all know CSS. So it's really easy to be able to make themes, plugins for this. You can see like, here's just an intro on how to create plugins. There's a boilerplate, like I said before, a template. Here's how to use it. Different things like that. Like here's how you set up the configuration file so we know how to, or Zazu knows how to parse it. You can see there's basically just the concept of blocks. If you ever use Alfred, Alfred has a similar concept of blocks talking to other blocks. So there's a lot of different types of blocks. We actually list all of them here. I've been adding new blocks all the time just because there's so many interesting things to do, like being able to reload your configuration or do like a really big preview pane. I think you might have saw that for like the donut. If I type in, well, donut, and then I click it, that's like a big preview box. Theoretically, you could put images, things like that in there as well. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do with that. I think I'm getting close to my time, so I'll speed up a little bit. But docs are cool. I have lots of docs. There's also plenty of places to get help. Like I said, it's all on GitHub. The whole point of that was like make it so that I can't charge for it, which is like a really weird thing to say, but theoretically, like you have my source code, it's MIT license, all the plugins are on GitHub. Like I can't take it from you, which I think is like one of the best selling points, I think. Well, not selling points, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's also, Zazu has like a Gitter chat, and I didn't know about Gitter for a while, but Gitter's basically every GitHub repo has like a chat room. So it's interesting in that way where you can just basically say, oh, well, I want to be able to chat about this repo, get some help, I want help on a plugin, or I want to actually contribute to the core, things like that. Just go on this chat thing. There's also a link in the README, but you can get to that from a lot of different places. And then, the hex stickers are really popular. I have a lot of hex stickers. There's Zazu. You can see there's 2 different colors, and I got some princess stickers, which is my dog, not a cat, a dog, but still cool. Boo. Okay, so that is it from Zazu. Thank you.